Hello, Holistic Heroes, and welcome to another Life with Lily episode. We are going to be manifested, of course, and I am here with Nicole Starbuck, and I'm going to have her bop on up. Hello, my darling. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm so good. I was over here rocking out to the little countdown music,
I
just
know,
kind of
right? It's like
chilling right there.
it gets you in the vibe. It definitely is a vibe, and I love it. So, can you explain to the people watching and everyone watching the replay, who are you, what makes you fabulous, and why manifesting is so important to you?
Yes, thank you so much. So my name is Nicole Starbuck. I am a psychic empath, quantum energy healer, spiritual mentor, and life coach. And I am just super passionate about showing people how to tune into their intuition and use and develop their spiritual gifts and abilities to create their dream life. Because I believe the more we align with our higher selves, the easier it is for us to attract abundance and magnetize our manifestations with grace and ease and flow.
I love it. And when you say grace and ease and flow, I think that is a really important thing about manifesting, that it doesn't have to be hard. This concept that people make, like, I have to earn what I have by struggle and sacrifice, is not actually how to manifest. Most of the time, like, if you are, let me be clear, it does take work and effort, but it's not meant to be a struggle and a sacrifice. The things that if you have to force it, it's usually not meant to be, is kind of how I see it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, one of my pet peeves in my line of work in my business is I'm trying hard to manifest. Like when
Mm,
I hear that, I just want to cringe and like bop them on the side of the head. It's like, no, like that's not the vibe. That's not the point. When
mhm.
we think about manifestation, so many of us are holding on to control like this. Like, I need to know exactly how it's going to happen. I need to have all the answers, the what and the where and the why and the how and the who and all, like, and like even just doing this, it feels very constricting and confining. And I always share, like, if I were the universe coming to your door and giving you everything you ever wanted and more, how well do you think you're actually going to receive like this?
Can you even open the door? Let's be
No,
honest. Can you
like,
even
yeah,
open the
like
door?
you're the first person that said that, right? Like,
No, it's like I can't even do anything. I can't move.
can't even do anything. No. So like let's check that off and like
Yeah.
let's open it up. And already like my nervous system calms down, like, oh, that feels nice.
Yes.
Like now I get to like be open to receiving and actually receive.
Yeah. And it you bring up a good point. So Raven Rising has signed on. Hello, Raven Rising. Thank you so much for joining us in the comments. So manifesting, let's be honest, people look at it and go, it's a woo-woo. Like, it's spiritual and it's beautiful and it's flow. It's it's mental, it's physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. Like, you're not just wishing and changing your energy. You have to relax your nervous system. You have to be able to put the actionable steps into it. I've met several people who, in our line of work, we're both practitioners, that they go, but I did all the affirmations and I set up a crystal grid and I'm praying every day and I'm meditating. Have you run ads? Have you, like, you're sitting there and you're like, I want to be a successful practitioner, but they're not doing any of the earthbound, the physical steps
Yeah.
to create the manifesting. Because so many people are like, no, this is my, it's not Santa. There is no Santa. There is no wishing, hoping, dreaming, or trying. There is just doing. There is just Yoda. There is no Santa, only Yoda. That is it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the yes, you have the divine support, but also when you get the inspired idea, that's the aligned action. That is the answer to the manifestation. That's how it comes about.
Yes, and what works for you may not work for other people. I want to touch slightly on style, actually, because I was thinking about this before we signed on. So I've talked about manifesting with hundreds of people. I've taught classes to thousands of people, as have you. And so many schools of thought are, okay, when you do your manifesting, you should have a timeline. And I totally get that school of thought. But for me, that's the clincher. Every time I put a timeline on something, it never works. And then if you don't meet the July 5th, all of a sudden your energy will shift. And so my style is to never put a timeline on my manifesting, because that'll actually make it come quicker for me. Because I didn't put this construct on it. And some people, their style is that they put a timeline on it, and then like the universe knows where to flow the energy and stuff. Both of these are valid. So how do you feel about style? Like everyone has different style, and manifesting is very different for everybody, right? Like everyone wants to think it's one thing. It's like, no, it's how does it work with your energy in the universe? How do you feel about that?
Ooh, exactly. So I am a firm believer there's no right or wrong. There's only what's true for you. So if that's working for you to not set a timeline, then don't. But if it's working for you to set a timeline, then do.
Yep.
So I teach something called the Manifest method. This was given to me by my guides. It was a divine download. I would love to share it with you if you're open to hearing it.
Yes. And before you do that, what is your website so that people can check you out and schedule if they want to?
Yes, I
promo.
thought we were doing that at the end, but I will shamelessly promote
throughout.
now. We'll sprinkle it in now. So you can find me online. My website is oracleacademy.com. It's a little play on words between psychic oracle and aura. So it's AURACLE academy.com. You'll find all the information there for a free quiz that I have in psychic school and the magnetic mastermind for creating a spiritual business. So that's all on there. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called The Conscious Collective. And then I'm also on Instagram as Nicole.Starbuck. That's Nicole. And then Starbuck, little dot in the middle. And then Starbuck is like the coffee, but without the S on the end.
I love it. Thank you. Okay. Now share your wisdom.
Yes. Okay. Divine download. So I'm not going to take credit for this. This was given to me by my guides, but I'm sharing it with anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear. So it is manifest. So we talk about manifest, but we want to manifest fast. So this is what the framework is, and it's very fluid to what feels right for you. So don't feel like you have to do it a certain way. Just if we're aligning with this will help manifest faster. So it stands for FAST, is feel the frequency, act as if or take aligned action, surrender to success, and trust the timing. That's what made me think, okay, this is the thing, because you talked about timing. So feeling the frequency is, it's not just doing our gratitude and doing our affirmations to mark something off our to-do list, but actually feeling the vibration of how freaking amazing would that feel for that to be your reality now.
Yes.
For you to already have that now. For you to already be that version of you now.
Yes. And you bring up a good point. So when I talk to people, I always say, like, you cannot manifest from a low vibration or a vibration of like desperation, because so many people are like, I am successful. I am successful. I am successful. And it's like, okay, honey, but that screams my car got broken into. That screams, like, that energy screams no. And so I love the F, because it's true. It's like a frequency that you have to match. And so I always tell people, like, what are we pre-gaming? I'm a big believer in pre-gaming. And even though I do not like sports, I use that term, that it's, how are you setting yourself up for your manifestation, for your meditation? Because people keep thinking that they can just jump into it, like right after work and then being stuck in traffic, that then they're supposed to jump into mindfulness. And that's just not realistic. It's like, do the breathing, do the visualizing, relax yourself, eat some fruit. Fruit raises my vibration. And so I love eating fruit. If you need to be grounded, do grounding. Like the F is like setting yourself up for the success. It's like, you have to match that frequency first. And so I fully believe in that.
Yes. Oh, yes. So F is feel the frequency. A is act as if or take aligned action. So we'll take a common manifestation. You actually touched on it, is like, oh, I want to be a successful practitioner and a successful coach. And what is success, right? Like, well, how do we define that? Most people put that in terms of money. So consistent 10K months is a popular one that most people grab onto. I want to make 6 figures a year, right? Okay, great. So how would a 6-figure coach actually act? And how are you being called to step up and show up? You don't even have a social media. You're not even sharing your story.
Preach it. Oh my God. I have had these consults so often when people, and so everyone who's watching, we work with professionals. Like, we are, dare I say, we are the professional for the professionals.
Yes.
Like, professionals come to us to open up and be successful the way we are. I dare say we are both doing very well. We have embraced our versions of success, and it is fabulous. Like, I love mine. I know you love yours. I think we are in sync with it amazingly. And that's why people come to us. I've met so many who are like, so I want to start seeing clients. Can I see your website?
Yep.
Oh, I just don't have time to set up a website. It's like, you
Well,
just told the universe
how
that
do
you
you
don't
have
have
yeah,
time.
how do you have time to take on clients
If you can't even set up the website? Oh, I don't do social media. Okay, I hate to break it to you, in the year 2023, you better do it. You better find a platform you like. I don't care which platform it is. You better find a platform you like. And Raven Rising is like, I feel so alive. And that is true. Like, and Nora has signed on. Hello, Nora, sweetie. So, like, with this manifesting, it's taking action. So success is a big one. Health is a big one.
Yeah.
And do you know the Hermosis? Like, they're entrepreneurs. They're fabulous. I watch them on TikTok. And Layla, the wife, the female counterpart, she goes, people don't have commitment issues. They've been committed to doing it a certain way. So they don't have commitment issues. They have like fear of failure, fear that they're not good enough. And that's true, because when people want to try and manifest health, my question is, what are you doing that action? And they're like, well, I'm waiting for health to come, and then I'll be healthy, and then I'll start doing healthy things. I'm like, no, why don't you, eat the fruit now, or go for a walk now? And please, everyone who's watching that doesn't know me, I am disabled. I have chronic illnesses. I am in and out of doctor's offices. Tomorrow I will be at the doctor again. And so when I say this, I am not saying like, oh my gosh, you need to be one of those granola crunching gym rats or anything like that. Find health the way it looks for you and the way it responds to you. Nicole, do you want to know what I did today?
What?
Slept.
Oh,
all day.
Can I say that I'm jealous that you got to sleep all day?
Yes,
I had calls all day.
Live vicariously through me. And here's why, because I flew out to Boston for 36 hours to go to a wonderful TikTok influencer's birthday party. I can't believe this is my life now, but it was so much fun. We did karaoke. However, you should not walk around in historical downtown Boston, 14,000 steps in heels. I did that. And it was not, I do not regret it. I looked adorable, but I was exhausted. I got home at like midnight this morning, and I was like, I am sleeping. I woke up for like a few hours and ate, and then I just slept all day. And then I woke up and like ate and put a face on, and I was like, I'm here. I look fabulous. But it's like, what, for me, that's, Boston was a success thing. Boston was manifesting success. Like, if you want it, go get it. Today was manifesting health. What would a healthy person do if they are feeling pain or sick? They don't power through it. They go, whoa. Okay. Acute damage is easier to treat than chronic challenges. I'm going to take the day and sleep. Yeah. And guess what? I feel fine for the most part. My feet still hurt, but I'm fairly certain my pinky toes are in protest, and I fully accept that. The shoes were super cute. And so, but that action, act as if you already have it. And with that, with success, what do successful people do? They work at it. They don't sit there and go, okay, I'm going to get success. And then I feel like people think the manifesting is going to happen, and then they're going to take action. Like, right? Do you find that in your career? I find that with a lot, that's a huge misconception, that they're like, I'm going to do the affirmations and the crystal grids. I'm going to get the manifestation, and then I'll put in the work. It's like, no, put in the work. And then for me, the manifestations, the affirmations, the crystal grids, that's the plus, the oomph, if you will. That's not what makes it. That's what helps you achieve it fast. Yeah. But it's not like you have to achieve it. within yourself. So that's the A. I have a lot of opinions about the A. So S, how about that S?
Yeah. I just one more thing about the A. We'll get into the
Yes.
S. One of my other pet peeves, I have a couple in my coaching world, is let me get my business all aligned and then I'll hire a coach. Oh, what wasn't that the point of hiring a coach, to get you help you get it
Yes.
aligned faster?
Yes. It's what, with the manifesting, what would actually make this happen quicker? So I recently hired a marketing team. And do you want to know why? Okay, manifesting, let's be honest. You have to be honest with yourself. What are your strengths? I can talk about this stuff forever on lives, in panels, in auditoriums of over 100 people. Absolutely no problem. I can channel, I can do tarot, I can do all of that. You want to know what I'm not good at? Hashtags. You want to know what I'm not good at? Algorithms. You want to know what I'm not good at? Technology. And so after I got off the second season that we did, that I was on, of the blocks, when we finished filming, I hired a marketing team and I was like, this is what I'm doing by myself. And you want to know what? You don't know what you don't know with manifesting. So you think you could be doing it right. And I thought I was doing it right. I thought I was doing it good enough. My marketing good enough. And he went in, and in 30 minutes, this lovely human being was like, here are the 15, Nicole, 15 things you are doing wrong with marketing in 30 minutes. So that's 120 seconds for every single mistake. And I was so like blown away by the fact that I don't know this. I need help. Oh, there's a question. Can you ask for help with manifesting, or do you have to do it all by yourself, or else you haven't earned it?
I frequently ask for help and I will manifest the help. So it's funny you said ads, because I was feeling called to do ads, and my human likes to argue with my guides, like, why would I do ads? That's expensive. I never do ads. That's right. And I was like, no, I'm supposed to do ads. So I said, Spirit, if I'm supposed to do ads, show me the person I'm supposed to do ads with. Just make it very clear. This is the person I'm supposed to do ads with. The next day, I'm going through Instagram. I come across it's an ad on Instagram for a lady that does Facebook ads. I'm like, oh, I like her energy. I'm going to follow her. Didn't start a conversation, but she liked my energy. Started a conversation with me. We get to talking. We hit it off. We do an energetic exchange. She comes to my retreat. She does my Facebook ads, which leads to a group that's now over 900 members strong. So like, I would not have had that if I had not followed my intuition and taken that aligned action.
Yes, yes, just being able to ask for help where you need it. You're not supposed to do everything, because people think like, oh, like the universe will give me the answers. Sometimes the answers is another person doing things for you to help you, and I like that we've kind of chosen health and success as our examples. So you should hire a coach. You should also hire a doctor, or a naturopath or something. Like, have them show you what needs to happen, because there are many things that I have thought, okay, this is healthy, and it's not. So I have a lot of food allergies. I don't know if you know that. I have like tons of food allergies, and many like people have said, oh my gosh, you need to try this diet and this eating habit. And all of them had things I was allergic to or sensitive to, or like would just make me sick with my chronic illnesses. But then like the doctors are like, no, your body needs XYZ, not ABC. They're focused on ABC. A normal, healthy person would love eating nuts as a snack. You will die. A normal person doesn't need the amount of protein that you do in your day. Eat more steak, because people are like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't eat so much steak, and my doctors are like, oh my gosh, please just eat more. Like it keeps you healthy. It's fine. So you're going to these, you are worthy of expert help.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a mindset that a lot of people forget about, is that I am worthy, I deserve, and I attract the expert help to have me live my best life with health, with business, with success, with whatever you want to manifest. But we talk about success and health because let's be honest, most people in some way or another want to manifest success and health.
Yes, yes. Most common topics are health, wealth, and love. Those are the three most common things I see in my world.
And we are not touching love because I don't want to say it's more complicated. It's not, but it has so many misconceptions and it would have to be its own show and everything because so many people just, wow, it's a thing. And it's manifesting love is possible. And oh my God, okay, I'm going to say it, Nicole, and everyone's going to hate me. It's easier than people think, but it takes more effort than people think.
Yeah.
That is the secret to manifesting love. That is all I will say about it. It's easier than than you think, and it takes more effort than it thinks. Guess what it is? Working on yourself. Oh, I know. Awful.
Yeah.
So that's my one thing about love. Okay, so the S.
Yes.
Are we on to S now?
Yes. The one thing I will say about love is love and money, the same line. So if you're feeling like you're not attracting money, there's something in the love that's not working for you. But we will save that for another conversation.
Now we have to have a whole nother show because when you said that, like I have a story. But yes, okay. We are now moving on to S.
Number 2. S is surrender to success. Mm-hmm. And the success piece is believing that you are worthy of success. Because how many times have we self-sabotage? We're on the fast track to success and we're like, oh, this is too good to be true. This other shoe must be dropping. So let me just back out and be in control of when this all goes to shit, right?
Yes. So many people have the mentality, I would rather control my failure than have uncontrolled success.
Yes.
And I'm always like, really? I would rather have money fall from the sky and carry an umbrella than not have money fall from the sky personally, because that's just how I roll. And it's surrendering is so hard. Like I know for me, and surrendering is hard for a lot of people for a lot of different ways. My biggest hurdle with surrendering has been my PTSD. Mm-hmm. And that's true for a lot of people because when you don't have control, you don't feel safe.
Exactly.
And so how do you feel safe? Well, then the first thing you have to do is create a safe space to manifest and heal and have your feelings. If you do not feel safe, you will not surrender. And so for me, that was my biggest hurdle was the PTSD. I still, PTSD is a lifelong thing. People, like anyone who's like, it's cured. It's not cured. You can heal and move on, but it is a part of your life. And so for me, to this day, I still have severe PTSD. And so there are times where I am not good at manifesting just because I'm so triggered or because it's around an anniversary of something or anything like that. So I feel like with surrender, awareness is also a big part of it. Be aware of your energy cycles, that frequency. Be aware of what makes you hold harder and what makes you relax. Yeah. And then when you want to manifest, lean into those relaxation things, not the zoning out things, not the, turn on Netflix and just zombie, but the things that actually cause you to like feel peace. Because surrendering is really hard for a lot of people. So my surrender, oh my God, this is going to sound so weird because I still to this day have no clue how it happened. I don't need to know. That's another thing. You do not need to know how the manifesting happens. You just need to allow it and surrender for it to happen. So I started seeing clients 20 years ago. And then I started my LLC 6 years ago. And so it's like, okay, so these are the steps that you have to take in business, right? And I was like, to be successful, I first have to, start seeing clients, create an LLC. And I thought all these steps. And I was like, I have to make it in the Twin Cities of Minnesota before I can go to Minnesota, before I can go to the Midwest, before I can become national, before I can become like, those are rational steps, right? Once I let go of that, I became national the same year, which was several years ago. And then I became international last year in 2022. Yay. Because it's like I didn't surrender for that first part. I was like, I have to be successful here before I can be successful here. And I wasn't meant to be successful here. I was meant to be successful here. And so the second I changed it, I started traveling the country doing events and channelings and stuff. And it was so much different. And I was like, oh, this is what success looks like. I had no idea. So if you surrender, it will, I want to say 9 times out of 10 look different than what you thought it was going to look.
Yeah.
Once you truly surrender, it's supposed to. You are an infinite human in a meat sack. You have no idea how amazing the universe is, people. Be open to it. It has plans for you that you cannot fathom.
Yeah.
I did not think that I needed national before. So national, and now I'm a big name in the Twin Cities. So it's like I had to be national first. And it's like, wow, that's really backwards. And it's like, surrender to it. Surrender to it. It'll be fabulous once you do it. So that's my surrender story. It blew my mind to this day. I still have no clue how it happened. And I love the fact that I don't need to know, that I just love that it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite mantras is this or something better. So if you're putting the universe in a box, let's open up, break that box. The box doesn't even exist. It gets to be this or something better. And the other thing is it doesn't have to make sense to be true. So this idea of going national doesn't make sense, but it's very true.
Yep.
Yep. And the energetics, the visual of letting go, surrendering to success, it's like so often we push and we force and we try and achieve and we hustle and we grind. And it has this energy of like swimming upstream. Like, have you ever tried to do that? Like swim upstream or go against the current? I think of these like water parks where they have the waves and you're trying to swim against the waves.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort. And it's exhausting. And it's no wonder we're so tired. And we're like, well, forget business. I'm going to go back and get a regular job.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But the surrender is like, oh my gosh, what if I could just like lean back and you're divinely supported because you're in the water, you're just floating. And if you need that extra safety, okay, let's put a little like pool floaty in there with you, a little donut, and let's just float down the river. And like, you don't know exactly how it's going to go. It may turn left, it may weave right, it may have little jetties, or maybe there's like a little waterfall, it may go fast, it may go slow. You don't know, but you know that it's going to be in your greatest good and your highest potential because you've already set the intention of where this is leading. But you trust and you allow the universe to guide you.
Yes, I love that. And for people who like, that was my surrender, but a success story for me to validate was comparing. And I know comparing is not the healthiest form of it, but my PTSD and my ADHD like to look at things side by side. It makes logic to me. And spirituality and manifesting does not need to be logical, but it feeds the hobgoblin and occasionally they're hungry. So I was on, I think you know about one of these. I was on The Blocks season 5 and season 9. And season 9 has not come out yet, so I cannot say anything about it. But when I was on season 5, I went in and this was you're going to be so disappointed in me. I went in and I intentionally turned down all of my psychic abilities because I felt like it gave me an unfair advantage. And that's not okay. I wanted it to be equal playing field with everybody. I was incredibly professional. I did everything right. I followed every rule. And I did very well on season 5. I did not win, obviously. That season's already out. It's not a surprise to anybody. I did not win that competition. And The Blocks is an entrepreneur show where we compete for a week. But I did, pretty well. I was invited back for season 9. And season 9, I decided to do things completely different and to turn all of my gifts up to 10, to be in the room, to be present, to do channelings, to do tarot, to do anything and everything. I cannot tell you how exhausted I was after season 5. It was so hard. And I mean, you would think season 9, I literally did twice as much. And I was not tired. I was fine. Season 5, I felt like I had been put through a ringer. And I was doing tarot and psychic work on the other contestants and then on the production team. I was taking care of the production team. So like if I got a psychic ping that one of them needed water, I would stop everything and go, you need to have water today. Can you please confirm that you will do that? And so I was doing all that. I was staying up until, curfew. We all had curfew, which was midnight, and then waking up at, 7 a.m. or earlier to then start again for this whole week. Like, it was so much easier to, like you said, go with the flow, go down the river, lean into your strengths. And I did so much better with my health, with my business, with the competition, doing it that way. It was hilarious. On one of the last days, I'm sitting there like ferociously writing. And then there's just like this small group of people around me. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I got a psychic ping." And I'm writing. And it turned out, you want to get this? It turned out that I wrote down verbatim what the challenge was going to be.
Wow.
And they're all just look like, I'm writing, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm busy getting a download." And then an hour later, when they give it, everyone who's in that group just looks and goes, "Really?" And I'm like, this is me. This is my authentic self. This is exactly how it's meant to be. So I love that. I love that for me and my brain, my ADHD, I love having that comparison. And it very much validated that, yes, surrendering is easier. We always think it's going to be harder, like we're going to be put over whitewater rafting.
Yeah.
No, the majority of the time you're inner tubing down the Mississippi. It is lazy and someone's handed you a beverage.
Exactly.
Like, it's fabulous.
Yes.
So,
I love what you just shared about the drastic difference between like not living in alignment with your authentic self and then just going with the flow and just being who you are. I have a similar journey, and actually today is a great example of that. When I was working a regular day job, and let's be real, I've been working from home since 2015, like long before this whole work from home movement, but I could really only work like 2, maybe 3 hours a day because
yeah.
it was exhausting. I was a virtual assistant, online business manager, project manager, and that type of work was just like not for me. I was good at it, but
Yep.
it was not my vibe. Now doing what I do in showing up for client calls and teaching workshops and seminars and doing podcasts and summits, I freaking love it. My workday today started at actually 9. So I started my workday at 9. My first call was at 10 my time, and then now we'll be wrapping up around 7:30, 8 o'clock my time. That's a
Yep.
long day. That's like an 11-hour day, but I don't feel drained. I don't
Yep.
feel exhausted because I love it.
Exactly. And Raven Rising says, surrender is an interesting way to think about it, though. Goes to show the limits of the national and transnational way of looking at scale. So I think that's a big thing with where we live and what we do, that surrender is also not something that's American, that our society allows. We should be in control. We should be dominating. We should be, if you're going to be in the workforce, you got to be woo. And it's like, I walk in and I look like a cartoon character come to life. I recently traveled and I got in trouble with TSA and they scolded me, and it was fine because I walk up and I'm wearing a hat with ears. I am holding a stuffed animal. I have a Harry Potter backpack, a Star Wars water bottle, and I am just shuffling up because I look like a giant child. And they're just like, "You brought something that you shouldn't." And in all reality, I should have been arrested. I was unaware that I left a weapon in my bag in a hidden pocket. And I forgot that it was there because it was a hidden pocket. And they were like, so when they're going through, and in my head, I'm like, I'm like, "I didn't do anything." And I said, "There's stuffed animals, don't touch them." And I'm like, oh my God, I'm yelling at TSA about my stuff.
They're going to think that there's crack or cocaine in the
They're just looking at this like adult child, just holding on to a panda named Ralph, who looks very loved, by the way. And just, and then I look over with my cat hat into the bag as he's rooting through stuff. And I'm like, "There's also a hat in there. It's super cute." And he's just looking at me like, oh my God. So he finally finds the weapon and he's like, "I need to take this." And in my head, I'm like, I'm about to be arrested. And I was like, okay. My daddy gave it to me though. And then I was like, "But you can have it." And he's like, "Okay." Well, and he zips up the bag and just gently hands it to me. He's like, "Enjoy your flight." And I'm like, that's authenticity, baby. Like, I was just, it's just so interesting. When we're our authentic selves, things happen for you, even when you make big mistakes. And I feel like that's part of surrendering, is understanding who your authentic self is and surrendering to your authentic self. And sometimes your authentic self, like for me, I am great at business. When I walk into a conference room, I am listened to. However, in front of the TSA holding a stuffy, I am an adult child cartoon that they are just looking at going, oh my goodness. No, I don't think you intentionally brought dangerous contraband. I think you are a silly kid. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And in my head, I'm like, I am an international business. And I am not being taken seriously. But here's the thing, surrender means you don't care. Yeah. Surrender means you don't care how other people see you. Surrender means you are letting your authentic self come out. And I feel like that's a part of surrender that people don't look at a lot. Yeah. And I feel like S is also for style. Like not with your download, I get that. But for me, S is also with style. Like I said, I don't do timelines. Yeah. And because they just don't work for me. I also don't do specifics anymore. Because they don't work for me. And it's not so vague as it's like health, but I'll be like physical health and then like have like a generalized like what I see physical health as. Because so many people are like you said, that $10,000 a month for success, right? That's a classic. Mm-hmm. No, every time I put a timeline or specifics, it does not work. Every time I leave it vague and open-ended, the universe is like, I'm going to like crap happiness on top of you and you're gonna love it. And I do. And so like I think that's style. So can I ask what your style is? So mine has to be as vague and open-ended as possible, but I know people who, if they are not down to, someone manifested a car and it had to be the make, model, color, and interior. Like or else it didn't happen. They tried for like 5 years to manifest a car and couldn't. But once they made it like pinpoint specific, they got it within a month. And the car, let me be clear, this was not a black car. This was a purple car. So like this was a specific, hard to find car. But once she made it specific, she got it in a month. So what is your style? Like personal style. Everyone's style is different. So that's mine. What's yours like?
Yeah, mine is I like to play games with the universe. So I'll get an intuitive hit. Like when I sat down with my guides at the beginning of this year, I sat with my team and I was like, okay, team, how would you like me to show up and serve this year? And they said, okay, monthly membership, psychic school, mastermind, right? So actually before that, they said expansion, connection, community. I said, what do you mean by that? And then they said membership, psychic school, mastermind. And then later they added Facebook group as a fourth one. And I'm like, great. I don't really know what else is coming, but I believe in this and something better. So I'll just see what else comes through. Then I get into some different conversations and all of a sudden I'm really on fire for doing podcast episodes. I don't have my own podcast, but I felt called to be on podcast episodes. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to find these podcast hosts if I don't have my own podcast? They said, okay, don't worry about it. We'll give you something. So the next day I said, you better show me something. Like, you better show me something right now. The next day I see on Facebook this group for connecting podcast guests with podcast hosts. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. But if you really want me to join the group, send me another sign. Show it to me again tomorrow.
Yeah.
The next day, and I'm thinking that because it doesn't usually show you the same stuff twice. The next day shows me the same group. So I'm like, oh, okay. Definitely a sign. So that's the thing is I'll get an intuitive nudge and then I'll play a game like Spirit, give me an extra $100 in the next 24 hours. Just random $100. I don't care how it comes. $100 next day. Or my husband. And this is the biggest thing is so often I thought that the extra manifestation had to come through my own earnings or my own business. 9 times out of 10, when I set that intention, comes through some other form. My husband will get a sale on his Etsy shop. Or one day I was like, universe, I would love an extra $1,000 today. My mom comes downstairs. My mom's living with us for a little while she gets settled. She's like, I would love to pay you rent. I was like, you don't have to do that. She's like, no, I want to pay you $1,000 rent every month. I had literally like 30 minutes before that said, universe, I would love an extra $1,000. So I play little games like that.
Yeah. And I feel like you bring up a good point with our style. The feel is different. So like mine, and it's weird because I am like I said, and I'm very proud of the fact that I'm a cartoon character. All right. There is no shame in the outrageous game that I have. But mine is very like logical. It's very general, open-ended, but it's very logical. Well, yours is very fun. Like the energy of our manifesting is very different. So everyone thinks like, okay, you either have to be zen, like totally calm and at peace about it, but yours feels fun. Like you said, they're little games. It's fun, it's engaging, where mine is very almost like Tetris. So it's not a game for me. It's like organizing the boxes, and once they all click together, everything is fine. And so for everyone watching, your styles, like we are both, I was going to say hugely successful. That's what I was drawn to say. So I'm going to say it. We are both hugely successful at what we do. Not to toot our own horns, but beep, beep for me and beep, beep for Nicole. Okay. And so, but we do it very differently.
Yeah.
And so even if it doesn't, it's like, so when you look at me, you would think that I would play games, right? Because of my attitude. And it's like, oh yeah, you got to manifest like, woo. And I'm like, no, it is so meticulously moving the little boxes for me that has me feel like I'm going with the flow, that makes everything easier. And so whatever your style is, don't judge it. Like if your style doesn't match your personality, that's okay. Like it's not meant to. It's meant to look however the universe wants it to be effective. And so if it's playing games, if it's being super specific, if it's being super vague, all of it is awesome. All of it is fabulous. So one of the things I want to ask you as we're coming up to a closing, what got you into manifesting?
Oh, yes. I will tell you, and I will just touch on the T because I realized we didn't get to that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's okay.
Yes. T first.
T was trust the timing, but I feel like we talked all about that got woven into the rest of the conversation as you are feeling the frequency and taking aligned action, surrendering to success is just trust this or something better. You know that the universe has your back. It will always work out for your greatest good and your highest potential, even if it's not July 5th, if it's July 6th.
Yep.
Are you really going to be that upset that it was a day late?
Yes. And with the timing and trust, I feel like something that we touched on a little bit, but I feel the need to touch on it again because it is a huge hurdle for so many people. Trust in the how, that it doesn't matter. Like you said, like, give me an extra $1,000. It doesn't matter how. The how doesn't matter, because I feel like so many people, because of the logic brain, because of their earthbound energy, they feel like they have to know, well, this is how it's going to happen. And no, it's not. Like I never thought my success would be national, local, international. I thought it would be local, national, but once I gave up on the how, it just happened. When there's no how, it happens. That is how I feel about the trust in timing. It's like you have to trust that the how is not in any way consequential to what you need to know.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So to answer your other question, how did I get into manifestation? It's going to sound super cliche, but I was going through a difficult time and I was like, what's the next step for me? I came across The Secret at a bookstore. And so I picked it up. It's actually a thrift store. I picked it up for like $2. And I started reading through it. And I realized there was also at the library, they had the movie version of it available for free. So I watched the movie and I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing my whole life. Oh my goodness. And then I just started playing around with it again. I like to play games. So I was thinking about a person, and the next day she reached out to me, and I didn't know what she did for work. I just remembered she and I had been coworkers and colleagues at a previous position. And I sent back a joke. I was like, oh, it's the law of attraction, LOL. I didn't realize she was actually a law of attraction coach. And she was looking to hire a virtual assistant, which is what I did at the time. And we got connected and I learned a lot from her. I credit to her like a lot of what I learned about holding space as a spiritual coach and mentor and how to hold group sessions and like I learned a lot. And even like this necklace I wear is something that she recommended to me to help me to channel energy, because I was just like a little baby empath, not really knowing what I was doing. And she helped me a lot. And so I started playing around with the law of attraction and manifestation back then. And then now that I've fully embraced and stepped into my psychic abilities, because that was a long time coming, we could spend a whole other hour on that. I discovered that at 9, and it wasn't until I was 29, so 20 years later, that I actually started developing that. One of the biggest questions that I get in misconceptions is, oh, well, if you're a psychic and you see an outcome, well, that must mean that that's what you're going to manifest. So what's the difference between a premonition and a manifestation? And it's like, well, it's the energy you're putting behind it. Because you can get an intuitive hit, but that's kind of like the warning light coming on your GPS, like, hey, hazard ahead, slow down, speed check. Like, this is what's up if you keep on this path. But you don't actually have to keep going that way. So often we forget about the free will. It's if you don't like where your life is going and you don't like the outcome that you're seeing, then do something to change it.
Yep. And that's the thing. The things that can alter a psychic ping are the C's: choice, chance, and change. And they exist for everyone. And so I love how you say it's like hazard lights. For me, I always see it as a bird's eye view of a map.
Yeah.
And so it's like you go and it's like, well, this is it. It has that outline of where you're going, like a GPS. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, but if I turn right, I'm still going to get to the same destination, but I may take a scenic route that's more beautiful, or I may take the route that goes slower with road construction. Like, and it's whatever works for you. And so there's not just one path to where you're going.
Yeah.
And manifesting, because when people, they say, oh, you got a ping or whatever, things can change. Not everything is exactly the way that it looks, like you said, on the map. Sometimes it's a warning, sometimes it's a turn left here, roadblock up ahead. If you really want to commit to the roadblock, you can go and stay there for a year and just watch it. Be like, honk, honk, it ain't moving. Nope, you're going to have to figure out a different way. So yeah, there are ways to manifest that are just so amazing and cool and fun that we never think about. So one weird, controversial thing that I want to touch on before we end: sometimes manifesting from intense energy is what you need to do. So it's not, and I don't mean like forcing energy or anything, but everyone's like, oh, it always comes from happiness. I have discovered through, again, PTSD, through trauma, you want to know what manifests faster than anything else in scary situations? Anger. You are not sitting there with light, love, and happiness. You are sitting there getting so pissed off that you're like, I will have this. And you're not, the thing is that with that anger, you're still doing fast. You're still surrendering to the manifesting of how it's going to happen. But I have laser focus energy in those situations that it's like, this is the outcome. We are getting there. And it's just hot knife through butter. Let's do it. And I want to be clear. When I've done these kinds of manifesting through intense energy, one, that was not the purpose, to be in a situation where I needed intense anger to do something. Two, it doesn't happen often. So I'm not saying that people like, get angry, punch a wall, and you'll get what you want. No, that is not it. But so many people think that the only way to manifest is through being completely calm and at peace. And sometimes in very extreme situations, oh yeah, like grief will have us move through something so fast because then we purge. Yeah. Anger can have us move something because there is nothing quite as motivating as your own safety. Or the safety of a child. That's another thing for me. Like, people are like, how do you do that? And I'm like, if a child is in danger, I'm not the mama bear. People are like, oh, so you wouldn't lift a car? And I'm like, no, but I may kill the driver. Like, I will get the car moved, but it's going to be in a much more violent way. And so it's, how do you feel about that? That this is, I don't want to say it's an exception to the rule, but I feel like it's something that no one ever talks about with manifesting, and it's there. It's not the ideal situation. It's not always a healthy situation. If you are in a situation where PTSD is happening, like, that's not a situation where you're like, I want to manifest happiness. You're like, I want to manifest safety now. Yeah. How do you feel about those extreme situations that if we're being honest, are needed. I am immensely grateful for the times that has happened, and I've been able to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I would not have been at peace manifesting. It was like, let's get as angry as possible and do something with this energy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
It's like lighting a fire under our butt, right? Like, what is it going to take you to move and to shift? Like, for me, intense energy was like waking up in an ER and being told I'd had a panic attack. Like, that was an intense moment. I'm like, gosh, there has to be another way. And more recently, I think of an example of every time I would step in, I realize my light is like changing as it's getting darker and darker here. Every time I would step into like a coaching container or a healing session for myself, because as a coach, I also get things done for myself. I'm growing and improving myself constantly. I would ask for like, I want a deeper relationship with my husband. I want more loving connection, right? Mm-hmm. And I go downstairs. I work upstairs in my home office. I go downstairs and we get in some argument. I'm like, what the fuck? Like every time I ask for more intimacy and a deeper love connection, it's like that needed to boil over. Like all that anger and frustration and resentment and old layers of self like needed to come to the surface. And that's the manifestation is like, hey, you asked for this thing that actually would have taken you years to work through, but let's just like bring it to the surface right now. Yes. And then you can manifest that loving relationship, but you have to be willing to go through that anger and trigger and that emotional charge right now.
Yes.
To have it happen faster.
I love that. And it's okay. Also, if you are stubborn, I am an incredibly stubborn person with a few things in my life, especially like my personal life. Mm-hmm. And so I have discovered through this happens so many times, I will move forward when it becomes chaotic and a little awful. But again, that's also because of childhood trauma. Like, I'm always sitting there going, it's been worse. It's not that bad. So the universe is like, you need to move forward. We're going to make this unlivable. And that's the only way that you can see it. Again, because of PTSD, your mental health does affect these things. And I understand that as someone who manifests that PTSD is something that I have to work with, not around. So it's not an obstacle. It's just a part of your journey. And so I know that like the universe will tear me down. And then I'll be like, oh, if 6 months ago I just would have taken a step to the left, that wouldn't have happened. But so however the universe gives you messages, it's boiling over. I feel like me, it's like a 2x4 just going batter up, bitch. Boom. And they just like knock me over and they're like, are you enlightened yet? How'd that feel? Ready to get out of the way? But I wouldn't have moved. If it wasn't for the 2x4, I wouldn't have moved. So it is something. And it's what I want people to realize is bad things are bad. We are not going to say this is light, love, and toxic positivity. And there is always a lesson. There is always a silver lining. There is always a gift from the universe if you're willing to clean off the shit. But you don't just sit there with a pile of poo. Like, if you're willing to clean off the shit, you can find the lesson, but you have to clean off the shit first. Don't just sit in it. I do not like, that is not the way to manifest, is to sit in metaphorical, literal, any kind of poo is my thing. So do you have any final comments about manifesting and the journey through that?
Just one thing, as you were sharing, like the 2x4 reminds me of a joke my husband and I have, which is how many times does the universe need to bitch slap you in the face before you get the hit?
Yes. Oh my God, I may have to borrow that. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
It's like, okay, warning, 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 like warning, warning. Like,
yeah. It's like it's until you're on the ground like twitching that you're actually
like,
listening.
why are you so mean to me? What did I do to deserve this?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then you're like, I'm sorry, I'll do better next time. And then next time it happens again and you're like, the time after that. I meant the time after that. I love it.
Yeah. So, the only other thing that comes through, you had touched on it earlier, is this idea of cycles and seasons. Like, I personally love to use the moon cycle and like sync up. We have some really fun stories of, we did a releasing ritual with the full moon one time. and I had written down my intention and he wrote down his intention, and I was really feeling $2,500 and he was really feeling $2,500 independently because we hadn't looked at each other's list until we were done. And then the next day we got a letter in the mail from our mortgage company. They said that we had overpaid on our escrow and they were going to send us a check for $2,500. And then we got it the following week. Yeah. So
love it. Love it. And Raven Rising says, I love weaving magic. It's a way to open up ways of working with inherently different spatialities and temporalities. Raven Rising. Okay. Again, I understand that you are like in academia. Talk down to me because I am dyslexic and I'm looking at that word and I'm like, what? So
she's bending time.
Yes. I love them so much. They are brilliant. They will be teaching at the Sound Symposium on October 28th. But occasionally, I am not going to lie, they use too big of words for little old me. And I love hanging out with people who are smarter than me. It makes me feel so much better about my life knowing that they're out there as I sit there getting in trouble with TSA. My final thoughts on manifesting are, it is easier than you think if you put the effort in. And that's the thing. You need to put the effort in for it to be easy. Everyone either thinks it needs to be this hard sacrificing struggle, or it's supposed to just like unicorn shit rainbows. And neither of those are true. You need to go with the flow, but you need to do the A. You have to put the actionable steps in. And I feel like that's all of them, of the ones that we talked about, the beautiful concept that you shared, FAST, like I feel like all of them people struggle with. And there's not one that people struggle with more than another. Everyone struggles with them differently, but it really is a great way to do things. So can you say your website and social media one more time? Nicole is taking new clients, and I believe, I could be wrong, I don't think I'm wrong, you are doing an academy course for psychics coming up soon, or it's just started, and so people can check that out too, correct?
Yes. As of right now, this live stream, we have Psychic School enrolling to develop your intuition and use your spiritual gifts and abilities as they relate to quantum energy healing for yourself and others. And then we are also enrolling for our magnetic mastermind, which is to take everything that you already learned in psychic school, or if you're already a seasoned psychic, take all that skill and ability and bring it to the world in tangible form as some sort of soul-aligned business. So those are both currently enrolling. You can find the information for those online at oracleacademy.com. For anyone that's just hopping on, that's a little play on words between Oracle and Aura, AURACLE, academy.com. And then I'm also on Facebook. You can join my Facebook group, which is the Conscious Collective. And then Instagram, I'm there as Nicole.Starbuck. That's Nicole, little dot in the middle, followed by my last name, which is Starbuck, like the coffee, but without the S on the end.
Perfect. And I'm Lily of the Light, and I offer monthly memberships to help people do their psychic development and have one-on-one sessions. I love helping people. I hope all of you will tune in. Make sure to like, share, and follow. And if you have questions, go to the website and I can lead you wherever you need to go. And of course, forward you to Nicole if you would like any more of her information and can't find it. Go forth, be the hero of your own story, manifest, and make sure that you check in with yourself. And also, if you want to share your manifesting story with us, we would love to hear it if you put it in the comments. Have a great day. Thank you, Nicole, and thank you everyone for tuning in. I will talk to you all later. Bye.